Let's talk about Egyptian writing. It's really fascinating, and it's part of the way that we know so much about ancient Egypt. Here we see a picture I took at the Temple of Karnak in Egypt. 3 students walking by the great pillars that are there. And one of the things you see is that these pillars are covered with decorations, with writing. They have on them what covers the temples in their writing. This is how we get the name hieroglyphics. Hieroglyphics actually means sacred writings. It comes from 2 Greek words, one for temple and one for writing. So it's temple writing, sacred writing. You find this on the pillars and the walls of temples. You find it on an obelisk around Egypt. The Egyptians also write on plants. The early form of paper, it's called papyrus. That's in fact where we get our word for paper, from papyrus. They'll cut it, they'll press it, and then they will make it into sheets that they can draw on, write on, and use it in that way. And so we have all kinds of records that are recorded of everyday things on papyrus, receipts, shopping lists, letters, and so forth. Now here's an example at that Temple of Karnak where you can see the pillar and then you see the beam up above. One thing you can notice here is that the beam, you can see some of the paint that's there. I think the thing that would surprise us about seeing Egyptian temples and Greek and Roman temples is that they were brightly painted. And so you can see the bright painting that's here. Now look at the part that has the bumblebee. Do you see the bumblebee up there? There is an oval that surrounds some signs. So you see a bumblebee, see an oval, then you see behind it a kind of triangle, and then a sort of cross with a loop. This is in fact what has come to be called a cartouche. Cartouche is the French word for oval. The cartouche encircles a royal name. And so you see the bumblebee is an indicator of a royal name. The cartouche is an indicator of a royal name. And then that thing that looks like a loop with a loop on a cross, that is called an ankh. Now the ankh means eternity, forever. So this is a name. You see the disc, you see the round orange ball, that's the sun. For the Egyptians, they worship the sun, they call it Ra. So the first syllable of this name is Ra. This in fact says Ramsey. Pharaoh Ramsey, long may he live. And so this is something that we see repeated over and over because the Egyptians believed as long as we said someone's name, said a ruler's name, they were still alive. Here's one of the obelisks at Karnak. You can also see it's covered with hieroglyphs. Now I was using this kind of writing that eventually could be translated. When it comes to writing on papyrus, I wanted to just show you a couple of pictures of how that's done. Here's my friend Amro, and he's showing us the top of a papyrus reed, which can get up to, say, 15 or 20 feet high. They cut it like this. They cut it in strips. They let it soak in water. Then they place it crisscross down and let it press together to make sheets. This is why we have so many things recorded on papyrus. It was easy to make, and the Egyptians had a lot of this material. Now, how did we ever figure out this writing? The decipherment comes from the use of the Rosetta Stone. Here's a nice picture of the Rosetta Stone. Even if you don't know a lot about it, you can see 3 distinct sections. The top part has hieroglyphics. The middle part has a script called Demotic, which is also the Egyptian language. And then the bottom part is in Greek. It was this that became the key to deciphering the Egyptian language, and a Frenchman named Champollion did this in 1822. This is how Egyptology got started. It really got started with this Rosetta Stone. And this Rosetta Stone, by the way, the French found it. Napoleon found it when he went to Egypt. But when Napoleon had to surrender, the British required him to hand this over. So if you want to go see this today, you have to go to the British Museum, where it's still on display today.